Ever wondered why our minds seem to jump to conclusions one moment, then meticulously analyze each detail the next? Welcome to the fascinating world of your brain, as explored in Kahneman's groundbreaking book, Thinking, Fast and Slow. To understand the key concepts of this book, we must first become familiar with a term: heuristics. It may sound complex, but it's quite straightforward. Heuristics are essentially mental shortcuts or rules that people use to process information more efficiently. They are a set of assumptions that typically lead to accurate predictions. Kahneman's key theory is that the human intellect operates in two distinct modes. The first mode is quick, intuitive, but sometimes irrational and impulsive. The second mode, however, is calculated, slow, and careful. The purpose of the book is not to devalue one and glorify the other, but to highlight both the strengths and weaknesses of each mode of thinking. Now, one might be tempted to assume that the rational mode is always superior. However, that's not necessarily the case. While the intuitive mode conserves our energy in routine situations, there are times when we need to deliberate and engage our rational thinking. Far from being adversaries, these two modes often collaborate. For instance, the intuitive system can gather and organize raw data, which the slower, more cautious system then processes. Now let's delve into the concept of heuristics and biases. Heuristics, as mentioned earlier, are sets of rules that usually lead to satisfactory results. However, they're not always applicable, and relying on them can sometimes lead to errors. Our fast thinking system heavily depends on these heuristics and biases, presuming their infallibility. But when these heuristics fail us, it's time for the slow system to step in. Recognizing these situations is one of the key lessons this book teaches. An intriguing example of a heuristic is anchoring. This is when a reference point influences our subsequent responses. For instance, if you're asked whether Nelson Mandela spent more or less than 30 years in prison, your following estimate of his prison term would likely hover around 30 years. This is because the initial question has anchored your thinking. Anchoring can be helpful when the reference point is accurate, but it can also be manipulated, leading to biased decisions. So, there you have it. The fascinating interplay of fast and slow thinking, heuristics, biases, and the power of understanding them. Kahneman's Thinking, Fast and Slow invites us to delve deeper into our minds, understand its workings, and make better decisions. And that, dear listener, is truly a journey worth embarking on.